As you can tell now from both of our models, we've got Joanna and we've got Shelby. We've had a full processing time of 50 minutes and we've created the most incredible illusion of light through on Joanna's hair, and on Shelby's hair we can see that lightness kicking through. The next step that we're going to go into now is the rinsing phase. We're going to take Joanna through to the basin area. We're going to rinse her. Always remember, when you've used Core Restore Part 1 in your lightener, rinse before shampoo, apply part 2 of Core Restore, let that sit on the hair for 10 minutes, then shampoo and condition. And because we're going to go in and we're going to do a bit of a root smudge, it's essential that we always remember shampoo and condition before tone. We'll be conditioning Joanna's hair with Fine Intellect. Fine Intellect contains keratin in it, and what that does for us is just helps repair and fill any potholes in the hair, creating a beautiful even canvas for us to get ready to start doing our toners. We're going to head off to the basin and we'll see you shortly. So we've just come back from the shampoo bowl and we have rinsed. We've done part 2, Core Restore. We've left that on for 10 minutes, rinsed that off, done a shampoo with Fine Intellect and then a conditioner with Fine Intellect as well. And this is pre-tone, and the great thing is we can see those beautiful tones pulling through. We're going to go and do a bit of a root shadow, and what we've done is we've mixed in a really nice cool tone because we don't want to get rid of anything that we've done here. We just want to create a very soft bruised line. So we've gone in with equal parts of 7O, 7-8, 7-1. So that's a 7 natural, a 7 pearl, a 7 ash, and then we've put 1 gram of 8.34, which is a copper gold. The copper gold is in there as a safety blanket, as a filler, because we've now got some really good blonde pieces going quite close to our shadow area. The 8.34 will just stop it from overtoning at all when it gets onto those lighter blonde pieces. If we have a look at Shelby, Summer has done the most amazing job with regards to Shelby's tones. If we go in and have a close-up look at it, you'll notice there's really soft dimension working through the sides and really created that nice, soft, beautiful tone that looks absolutely seamless in terms of creating exactly what it is that Shelby was wanting. Great job, Summer.
Thank you.
So we're going to go in and we're going to do our root shadow. And again, for me, the easiest way of doing root shadows is separating front to back. So the way I'm going to do that is just go down, separate left and right, and then from there I'm going to go in and do my section to isolate the front area. Clipping the back out of the way. Now remembering we started lightening in the front of the head, so we're going to need the least amount of tonal control at the front. At the back we had the larger areas where we had more dark hair that we were lifting up, so I'm going to do my root smudge at the back, and I'm going to start my way at the back, then work my way through to the front. You'll notice at this stage I'm not wearing gloves. For a root tap area I'm not going to get anywhere near getting the product on my hands. You'll notice that Summer has got gloves on because she's going to be working through mids and ends. It's always really important to remember to wear protective equipment as we are still working with color at the end of the day. Going in and just around my sectioning, I'm putting in my root tap. Making sure we get all the hair in around that area. I'm just going to do a slight root tap on the top to give us that little bit of extra depth due to processing time, leaving the hairline out because we'll do that last because we want to maintain those pops of lightness at the front. One of the things you'll notice with the root tap that I'm doing here is it is a little more feathered towards the end. It's not just, as the name suggests, a root tap. Reason being is the lifting strength that we have in our paint powder is a fair bit softer than what we do get in a foil, and that's the perfect thing that we want here, because we just want to create those little edges of lightness through. So by going in and doing your root tap and smudging it down just a little bit further, it gives us that opportunity of addressing those areas with the root tap, which are a little warmer. And that's the purpose of the root tap, to just give us a little bit more control on those areas. You'll still notice I work my way up so that I get complete saturation through all of the sections as we work our way through. What you'll find, another key point of difference that we're going to do with our root tap here, is before we get the ends on, I'm going to go through and stretch this color down before we do our ends. The ends have come up super clean and we just need a little bit of tonal control on those ends. So what we've used for our ends is our platinum in the pastel range. As the name suggests, being pastels, they are really, really soft. And all it's going to do is give us a very soft amount of control on those gorgeous lightened, cleaned out blonde ends. And by stretching it out on the root, it's going to give us that opportunity to bring that tap that we've done on the root just through that area to give us a little more control there before we end up in the ends. Again, you'll see I'm pulling that root shadow through the slightly lighter pieces. Remember, there is 1 gram of 8.34 in the mix, and what that's going to do for us is give us that ability to control the warmth, but fill anywhere where we get on something that's that little bit lighter. At this point, I'm going to take out my 2 lightest fringe pieces, and I'll do those 2 pieces last. Notice how I'm always working on a diagonal back, because what that enables me to do is keep the color off my client's face and keep it super neat in its application. You can already see what that root smudge is starting to do, giving us that really nice smoky feel. In the consultation, Joanna said to us she likes living on the slightly cooler side of things. It really suits her personality, her skin tone, her eye color, and the top that she's got underneath is just going to work beautifully with all of that. So we're just going to swap sides right now. Spin you around and we will swap sides. Actually, as I'm working through it now and I'm having a look while the tone's starting to take place, I'm loving what I'm seeing. I'm now going to go and incorporate those fronts. Here in the front, I want to keep the lightness through, so I'm just going to go in and do more of a root tap on the front, and I'm going to spin Joanna around now so you can see those front two sections. Before I put the toner on, if I lift that up, we can see we've got some beautiful light tones working through the front here, and I'm loving the smokiness that I see on the ends. So all I'm going to do on these front sections is go back in and utilize just the tips of the brush and go and do a classic little root tap just on those bottom little pieces, creating that shadow that I'm looking for, but without overriding anything too far back. And then what I'm going to do now is go through to the back and start from the bottom and stretch that up before we go in and we do our mids and our ends. Another key thing in salon is always make sure when you're mixing up product, you mix up the right amount of product. We're all about clean and kind, not just for you, the colorist, but for your client and the environment as well. So when we waste color and it ends up going down the drain, we want to be socially responsible and also really mindful of costs for products in salon. Get you to hold that for me for 2 seconds. Can we see these beautiful, gorgeous, smoky tones coming through? What we're going to do now is just go through, and I'll grab that, and literally just stretch it down a tad. All right. I can take slightly larger sections as we work up to the top, but more control to pull that down just a little bit. And remember, it doesn't matter if we get a little bit of that color on the blondes, because we've got the 0.34 in our formulation. It's going to give us that ability to give us the control we need without overtoning and going muddy. It's quite a big thing nowadays where clients are looking for those cooler reflects, and to do smudges, it's essential if you're dropping more than one level to make sure that you always include a filler into the mix, because what the filler will do is give you a safety blanket without turning any of those blondes a shade of murky, unless that is something your client is looking to achieve. While I'm working through and I have a look, there may be an area over here that I'm catching a little bit of extra warmth with it. That's perfect because we're doing a root smudge to control those warmer areas. So all I'm going to do here is just make sure that I've got enough product on my brush, and I'm going to go through and work that through in those slightly warmer areas. Again, don't be afraid of getting that through the blonde pieces, because we've got the filler built in. It will be 100% fine. And this is such an awesome brush for doing this, because it's really soft and gentle on the hair and gives us great control in terms of where we need that toner to be, and it just gently takes that down and creates that really beautiful smudged feel in terms of refreshing our look. So we'll let that sit on the hair for a couple of minutes. While that's busy doing what it needs to do, I'm literally going to just take the last little remnants that I have in the bowl and apply that through to the perimeter, just to make sure that we've got all those little areas saturated. And then my gorgeous assistant and incredible student for the day is going to assist me in terms of getting that through the ends. So for the ends, we've gone in, we want to create as much coolness as possible, but not lose any of the lightness. So we've used an incredible product that we have in our range called Clear. And as you discovered in one of the earlier modules, Clear is utilized to pastelize the tone down, still keeping the reflect in it, but just diluting the reflect down. So what we've gone ahead and done is we've mixed equal parts of platinum in the pastel range with Clear to still maintain the tonality of the platinum, but soften it out because we don't need that much tonal control here. What it'll also do for us is, let me just finish mixing that so you can hear me. Clear is also an incredible tool to help equalize porosity on your mids and your ends. And as we saw before we started on Joanna's hair, those ends were rather sensitized. We've cleaned them out beautifully by using the paint powder and a 1.5%, but now we're going to go in, and because they're previously lightened, they will be a little bit porous. The Clear in the mixture as well will help stop that porosity from really sucking the color up and giving us an overtone. So we'll start at the bottom. I'm just going to swing you around a little bit, and then I will hold that for you, and we're ready to go.
Thank you.
You'll notice as the color's being applied, Summer will use her fingers and literally blur that line together from the root smudge through to the mids and the ends, creating a really nice, soft, diffused feel through the areas that we are now bringing those two colors together. Sorry, gorgeous. There you go. Always notice we start working a little bit lower and then we gradually work our way up so that there's not overload of product on top of the color. We blur those two colors together with our fingers and let it go and work through to the next section. The great thing with what we're doing with the whole Clean Academy is you may not have the opportunity to have myself, Summer, or a gorgeous model like Joanna sitting in your chair, but you can watch this video over and over and master this technique to create the exact same looks that you do in salon. The great thing with O&M toners is when you physically see the tones start happening, what you'll notice is there's a little bit of a panic moment. Do not stress. We've mixed this with a 1%, and what that's going to do is give us a really soft tone deposit. The pigment itself will develop and it may look a little darker than expected, but you'll see once we've rinsed this out and achieved the look that we are going for, those tones will just be exactly what it is that we're looking for. So we're on the last piece now. Summer's going through, just making sure that that root is really bruised and smudged in nicely. Saturation through the whole way, through the mids and the ends. And what we'll do now is just go through and just make sure that all of those ends have got enough product on them. So if there's anything left in that bowl, if you can just grab those pieces up there and just pop a little bit more on those ends, work it through, and then we'll let it sit for 15 minutes, processing time, and we will be back with you shortly.